Hey guys, Dalton here from Nehull Productions, and today we are starting up our very first series here on Nehull Productions. And this series is going to be a GM series, but what it is going to be is worst to first. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the worst team in the NHL right now. We'll let the GM be fired, why not? And we'll turn this down to 5 years. So I'm taking the worst team in the NHL right now, which sitting in 30th place right now as I speak are the Colorado Avalanche. So we're going to go ahead and pick the Colorado Avalanche. We'll go on the hardest difficulty, and we'll go ahead. We don't really care about our name. Sure, there we go. So what this first episode is going to be, for the most part, is me going through the Colorado Avalanche, taking a look at what they have to offer and kind of their potential as a team. And we'll kind of dissect their lineup and see what they have, what they don't have, what they need, and things like that, so that we can decide where we want to take this team. You know, do we want to, make a big push for the playoffs this year or the next year? Try and win Lord Stanley, because that is the whole goal of this series. In 5 years is to win Lord Stanley, and whether that's in the first year, second year, or even the 5th year, it doesn't matter. That is our goal. So here we go. We'll save this data up. We'll call it BF. Sure, why not? All right. So that is the goal: is to win the Stanley Cup, of course, to win Lord Stanley and heist it above our head and give it a nice little smoocher. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to take a look and see what that is, and then are we going to, like I said, make a push for the playoffs, or are we going to try and do a rebuilding phase? Are we going to try and just go for draft picks, gut this team, and try and see what we can produce later on, maybe 2-3 years down the road, when those draft picks have, built themselves up to a great player and things like that. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing this first episode. And then the next episode, we'll be doing trades and all that good stuff that you guys are probably looking forward to seeing. So hopefully we can get here soon. So the Colorado Avalanche are a very, very young team. They have like 2 or 3 very young stars. They have, I know Gabriel Landeskog is their captain. I believe he's the youngest captain in the NHL as of this moment. And then they also have Paul Stastny, who is a great young player. Matt Duchene, a great young player. And Parento, who's not bad, but he is still young. So we're just going to go through this lineup here. So Paul Stastny at center, he's not that bad of a first-line center. Really, at an 85 playmaker, not bad. Gabriel Landeskog, I would say he's not a first-line left winger. Maybe a second-line left winger at best. And the same thing goes for Parento. Really not a first-line, maybe a second-liner at best once again. And then their second-line center, Matt Duchene. He could be a first-line center for sure. Another playmaker here at 85. So they got a good centers, good depth on centers. Not sure how they're going about. I don't get to see a lot of the Colorado Avalanche, but I don't know how they're going about picking who their first-line center is, because personally, I would say Duchene's probably a better fit for the first-line center. But of course, as you can see, they're both very good and very well placed at center. And then Milan Hajduk, who's getting up there in age and is down to his 78 sniper. So he's definitely not a second-line left winger. And then Steve Downey, I would say he's probably more of a third-line player, being a grinder, and only at an 81. So, and then as you go further down, Mueller may have some potential as a younger player, but sitting on the 4th line, he's really not going to get any better. O'Reilly, he's still, I believe, maybe 26 or something like that. Oh, 21. Holy cow. Wow. Okay. My apologies. I really didn't think that he was that young. So he's still got potential as well, but I don't believe he'll get too much better. And then other than that, it's just the rough guys down here. And then on defense, they've got Eric Johnson, their big boy back there, handling the defense. So other than that, really, there's really not much else going on back here. Hayda, I believe he's a top 4 defenseman. Let's take a look here. Yeah, he's a top 4 defenseman. So other than Eric Johnson, they really don't have anybody that stands out as a great young or a great player at that. So their defense needs to improve for sure. And then we'll take a look at their goaltending. Varlamov. Okay, so Varlamov isn't a bad goaltender, but to be a playoff contender and somebody that's looking to win the Stanley Cup, you need an elite goaltender, somebody at maybe an 85, 86, or even higher. And they clearly do not have that. And they got Jean-Sébastien Giguère as their backup, some veteran goaltending there. But he's not going to get the job done. No siree. So we're going to have to take a look and see where we can move these guys and how we're going to go about that. I think what we're going to have to do here, because they really don't have too many, like they really don't have that many assets, to be honest. I think what we're going to have to do is, I think what I want to do is do a complete rebuild of this team. Maybe get rid of one of Paul Stastny or Matt Duchene and, you know, rebuild this team from the ground up. Maybe get rid of Hayduk because he's an old guy, taking up a little bit of salary that we don't really need. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at and see what these guys are worth and see if there's any possible trades that can be made for the next episode of Be a GM. Alright, trade negotiations. And we'll go to trade players. We'll take a look at all of their contracts to see who's taking up a big contract and doesn't really need to be there. Alright, so Paul Stastny, of course, has a big contract. Parento, alright, so Parento, he's really not that good of a player, to be honest. He's an 81. He's a second line forward, and he's solidified at a 4-star rating. He's 29 years old, so he's not going to be getting much better than that. Maybe he'll bump up to an 83, but he's still going to be a second line forward. So I think what we're going to have to do is get rid of Parento because he does have the second highest contract on the team for the Skaters, and really not going to get much better, and he doesn't really fit on this team, being that he is the first line center, but he's supposed to be a second, or not a center, a right winger, but he's supposed to be a second line, yeah. Alright, so I think what we're going to do is get rid of Parento, so we'll click him out here, and then Jones, let's take a look at Jones. Alright, I think he was like a third line guy. Yeah, he's a third line guy at 28 years old. He's also not going to be getting much better. I mean, I guess he's okay for a third line guy. Did it say he's a sniper or a grinder? What did it say? He is a sniper. Okay, so to have a third line sniper, I don't like to have snipers on the third line. I think that's kind of more of a second line or even first line kind of position for a guy. And he has taken up $4 million a year with 3 years left on his contract. So I think he's another guy that can go. But we got to be careful that we're not giving away too many of one position because we've already got 2 right wingers gone. Alright, so moving through here. Hayda, he's 34 years old at 3.25 mil. I think it said he had 3 years left. Yeah, so he's obviously not going to be getting... Whoa, okay, sorry about that, guys. He's not going to be getting any better anytime soon. So he could be a guy that we could ship out, but I'm going to leave him in there for now. And then other than that, really, maybe Steve Downing. Let's take a look at Steve Downing. He's 25, 4 stars, so he is going to get a little bit better. He might move up to maybe an 83 because his stars haven't gone to silver, so he still has a little bit of potential left to grow as a player. So I think we're going to leave him. So I think what we have come to is, Milan Hayduk. Alright, let's take a look at him. What is he? He's a 78 sniper, third line scorer. Once again, we don't really want a third line sniper because it really doesn't... I don't feel like that's a position that should be on the third line. I think it should be more of a grinder player or a playmaker maybe. So I think we're going to have to ship out Hayduk as well. But we've already got 3 right wingers that we're going to be shipping out. So that's where I'm going to wrap up this video. The next video, you guys got to stick around to check it out. We're going to be shipping these players out, trying to get some draft picks and maybe some young prospects. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button.